my show today is titled Is Ryan Reynolds the Real Villain? Um,
Ooh.
that's literally the new path I'm going under.
Hi and welcome to Floss and Talk. I'm Kjersti Flaa, and here on my channel I talk about my good and bad experiences in Hollywood with celebrities and working as an entertainment reporter. So yesterday I went to a really great event actually with Jay Leno. He was promoting a movie called Meet Us Man, and I interviewed him. He was amazing. I asked him about Blake Lively.
Are you following the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively drama?
Yeah.
And we talked about that infamous Hugh Grant interview that he once did and other like crazy Charlie Sheen stories. So stay tuned for that interview. It's coming out soon, I promise. Anyways, today I have a very special guest with me here on my show. I found her on YouTube and I was like, okay, this woman knows what she's talking about. So she lives here in LA as well. She's been working as a casting director and as an acting coach. So she knows the industry and she's met Justin Baldoni several times and she's spilling all the tea with us. So Donna Bowling has her own YouTube channel called Daily Dose of Donna. She has live updates every day at 11 a.m. in Pacific time here in LA. So I don't know what time it will be where you are, but you should check her out because she knows so much about this. She told me so many things I didn't know. So yeah, this is Donna. Donna, thank you so much for joining me. I found you on YouTube the other day. I was like, oh my God, we are just so similar in the way we think. Thank you for
Oh my
being
God.
being on Floss and Talk.
It's been crazy to see you. And of course, I've been watching you. I mean, you're a huge part of this story.
Yeah, kind of. It's crazy. So you do like every morning at 11 a.m. you have a live podcast. And how many episodes have you done about Blake Lively, you think?
Well, I did a few in August, like right when the drama started, but I didn't focus that much on it. I did like two or three just like as one little story. But yeah, since December 20th, it's kind of been like one of the big, I mean, since December 31st, it's been all over the place. I'm so fascinated by this story because of I think I would have been fascinated anyway, but just my background working in the industry it's become an obsession for me.
Yeah, and I think that's also why I think you have like the right attitude towards this because you know how Hollywood works because you've been an acting coach, no, a talent
Casting director.
casting director and an acting coach, so you know actors.
Hmm.
So I feel like you look at Hollywood the same way that I kind of do. You know, we have a little bit of a distance and maybe feel a little cynical towards, you know, celebrity culture and everything. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I came in this. So the first time I heard about the book being made into a movie, whereas of course, I knew about the book, but everyone was like, "Who is Justin Baldoni?" I knew Justin because, of course,
Oh.
obviously from the casting days. I mean, I didn't really watch Jane the Virgin, but I knew who he was because when I was a casting director, one of my first shows that I ever worked on as a casting director was called Sweet Life on Deck, which was Disney. It was on the Disney Channel. It was Dylan and Colt Sprouse, the little boys. They were Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. It was like the little blonde twins on Disney Channel, whatever. He was on that show on one episode. So his name, Justin Baldoni, was on every list I ever did as a casting director for like a handsome, good looking guy in his 20s in those years in the early 2000s. And we even went out to lunch, my casting partner and I, and Justin.
Oh,
And so
wow.
I knew who he was. It was kind of surprising to see his name being put into this, but I knew Justin as the hot guy in his 20s, the guy that was on all the lists when I was, I would go out and meet on a lot of shows for the CW and, as a casting director or Freeform at the time, ABC Family turned into Freeform, any of those like Fox pilots. And his name would just be on so many lists because he's such a good looking leading man type. But I also remember when I first saw his name attached, I was like, he's the guy from that engagement video. Because I also remember seeing that video that went viral on YouTube. That's the video he proposed to his wife. And so it wasn't surprising to me that he was part of this. What was surprising was when Blake Lively became part of it, because I thought to myself, she's so old for this role. That was actually kind of surprising to me. And no offense to her, I'm older than her. I felt like it was a mismatch for the character. But everyone was like, who is Justin Baldoni? Who is he? I never heard of him before. I totally knew who he was.
Did you meet him personally?
Yes,
So
I
you
met
did
him
have
one
lunch.
time,
Did you say you had lunch with him? Wow. What
a
was your
brief
impression of
lunch.
him?
So I've said this many times before, and I say this with love. Actors, and they range, right? Of course, you meet really nice ones. You meet ones that are very off-putting. I would put them in the nice category 100%, but actors are actors. And I was a casting director, and so as you know, like sometimes you feel like they put it on for you. If they feel like you're in a position of maybe they need something from you or they want something from you. And this was early in his career. This was a time, I don't even know if he would remember. I mean, this was so early on. This wasn't a time where he was in a position of power, this was way before Jane the Virgin. So I think at that time when we were meeting with actors, it was a lot of actors hoping to get something from, I felt very like kind, really kind, but a lot of actors have that like on personality. So I would just put him in that category of like showy theater, like yeah, performer. But that's not weird. That's just actors being actors.
Interesting. So you were saying that, yeah, you weren't surprised that he was attached, but then you were a bit surprised when Blake was attached. How surprised were you when you read about everything that was going on when it started in August?
Well, my first inclination, like immediately, I heard everyone was against Justin Baldoni because that was everything was like, no one is following him. He's not in the pictures with everyone. So your first thought is there clearly something's wrong with him, which was weird to me because I thought to myself, I didn't know anything negative about him. I had never heard anything negative about him, but very quickly remember all of the stuff. Hello, your interview kind of like set that off in my mind, and immediately I remember thinking, well, I don't think he's the problem. And so many people who I've spoken to since that day, and then of course in the last few weeks, who have worked with him personally in the industry, who have worked on Jane the Virgin, who have cast him, who have been reps of his over the years, and who have been personal friends with him over the years in the acting space or in his personal life that I've just spoken to, have corroborated that story. I don't think he has a reputation for being a difficult, challenging person. She, on
Yeah.
the other hand, is not the same. I mean, I just don't think they have the same reputation in the business.
Have you met her?
I've never met her, but I've hired her brother. She
Oh.
has multiple siblings, and I've met and worked with her sister, one of her sisters, many times. So, okay, so she has a brother named Eric, who I was a casting assistant or an associate at the time. This was early 2000s, and it was a Jerry Bruckheimer sitcom, and which I think it was like the only time Jerry Bruckheimer ever
Yeah, I
did
was
a
like,
30-minute.
it's come. Yeah.
So random, right? It was a great show. It was a great show, and her brother was one of the three guy leads, and he was so nice. He was actually really friendly.
That's
So
good.
I never worked with her or anything. She was always just like on lists. We would always have her on lists because she was always kind of like an offer type of name by the time we were talking about her, when she was a little bit older. But we never actually auditioned her. However, we would talk to her mom because her mom was a talent manager. And we would talk to her sister. So her sister, her older sister, Lori Lively, is a very, very, very popular acting coach for kids.
Oh.
Like the top dog acting coach for kids in Los Angeles. And she was the one that would be hired a lot on sets for all the big Disney shows and stuff. And I believe she's still doing that now. I haven't heard any different. And she was great. I mean, I liked Lori a lot when we worked with her.
So what was the talk? Did you talk to people like in Hollywood when this is going on? Like, what people's opinions were, what was happening. I feel everyone is like secretly really interested in this, but not everyone is, want to talk about it, and people are a little scared to talk about it. I've asked people to come on here and talk about it that are like in the industry somehow, and they're just like, no, 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 we don't want to touch this. Is that your experience as well?
Well, people are talking to me, but they won't talk about it on my show too,
No.
because they're still in the industry. But I don't care because I'm not,
Yeah, me
I'm like,
too.
I'm out of there, so I'm okay with it. So look, I think it's a very, very challenging situation. This girl was raised in the industry. She was given, she didn't have a life outside of the business, basically, since she was a very, very young kid. From various managers and agents who worked with children as actors and have known her from that very, very young stage. I've heard a variety of things: entitled, difficult, bratty, challenging. I've heard most of stuff like that. Um, Diva type of behavior, way more than kind and loving and sweet and easy. And, you know, I don't think that this is just piggybacking on bad press. I think this is your reputation precedes you. Like, I don't think that this is just, oh, now that everyone's saying bad things, I'm going to say it. I think that people would stand up for her and say great things. And I'm sure she's had some really good experiences out there, but I just don't think that they overshadow the negative. Um, Apparently her mom, I didn't know this about her mom. I never really had that great of a relationship with her mom, but from agents that I have spoken to who work directly or maybe shared clients with the mom, because that's how it works. You have an agent and a manager. So the mom maybe shared clients with these agents. I heard from one agent, they said, I said, was the mom nice? Or like, how was the mom nuts? I said, and they said, calling her nuts is being nice. That's what they said. So I do think she just was raised in a home of maybe a lot of whatever she wanted, she got type of energy. I think she was the baby of the home, and beautiful, right? Beautiful, kind of got a lot of what she wanted. And listen, I just listened to a podcast episode this morning that was released in 2021. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this podcast. It's called Beyond the Blinds.
Yes, I
And
have heard about it.
yeah, and it's a blind item podcast. And so what they do is they take blind items from since 2005, I think they found these items. So they're really old. And they're all the ones that are related to Blake Lively, allegedly, but they really are. I mean, you can tell that they are. She has had blinds written about her from Gossip Girl way back in the day, from Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and from the press junkets of those years. And then, of course, all the way up to Gossip Girl. And then this was in 2021. So this was before It Ends With Us, but it led up into her marriage with Ryan Reynolds and what was going on there. So they're not great. Not great.
Oh my God, we have to go and listen to that now. But the thing
It's
is,
a
I have never met anyone who said anything nice about her, except one journalist that told me on my Instagram and she said that, oh, she was nice in my interview. And I have another colleague who said she was really nice to him once and then she was really mean another time. So you never know which one you're going to get. I think, do you think all actors are kind of narcissistic, or is that like a special acting
No,
trait?
because I've met so many lovely,
Hmm.
lovely actors. And I really do think that there are some really good, kind ones out there. I hate to say that they're all this difficult, and especially what's so weird about it, and what's so frustrating about it is that, like, or confusing, I should say, is that she really was not, like, it would make more sense if she was really bad later in her career, like after she met Ryan Reynolds and married and like became a huge A-list star later. But this sounds like it was really early on,
Yeah.
like Gossip Girl days, when you're like a CW star in an ensemble. Leighton Meester, who was her co-star, who arguably was just as talented, just as much of a star on that show as Blake, was and is married to Adam Brody, who is such a huge deal now with Nobody Wants This, and has zero bad reputation. Like you can't find one bad thing about her at all. And I was DMing with two people who know her very well in a professional setting yesterday. Actually, one of them is someone who I went to who I've known since high school. So I know her very well. And I was talking to her on the phone last night. And then I was DMing with someone who I just recently started talking to who works with her. And both say not only does she never bring up Blake and like doesn't talk about it at all, she wouldn't. Like, it's just not her vibe. She doesn't talk bad. She's not negative. She likes to keep at good high energy. She's a positive person. I don't think most people are that way. I just think that there's some people just have this kind of vibe. But I wonder sometimes when I watch Blake in interviews and stuff, I sometimes wonder if she just has this horrendous sense of humor that like does not land. Like a really awkward, horrible sense of humor that she thinks she's being funny and it does not land.
I know. I feel exactly the same way. And now I've seen the pattern, as you're saying, from one interview to the next. And they're always adding, just kidding. And it's like, well, that wasn't funny. And if you're saying just kidding, it kind of makes it even worse. But I think, as you say, there's something about her. I think the more I see of her as well, the more I feel she's very insecure. And that's maybe why she get triggered so quickly. But do you think that there was a smear campaign that was orchestrated, or do you think it was organic?
I 100% think that they had all cylinders ready to go if necessary, because it looks to me like they had planned, we need to be ready if necessary. Not necessarily a smear campaign, but a necessary, like, we may get taken down big time by big deal Ryan Reynolds. It sounds to me like they knew what was coming, because after reading all the lawsuits, and I'm sure you've gone through them as well, it sounds to me like Ryan Reynolds was starting to kind of trickle around and go to William Morris and say, this guy's a sexual predator, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sure it does make sense. Like, and I keep trying to explain, if I was Justin Baldoni, or if that was my husband, and I knew that this could potentially happen to my career, and I had the means, the resources, he did have Wayfair and the money in his corner, I would fight for my life too.
Of course.
Like, what do you expect, right? But I do not see the logic in why in the world he would go out of his way to fire the first shot and try to smear her in advance of her doing anything to him when she's the lead of his movie. It doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone want the lead of their movie to be smeared? Because clearly, as we're seeing right now, like, Blake can't star in a movie right now. Like, no one's going to see it. So if anyone has a really, really bad reputation prior to the movie coming out, or like as a movie's coming out, it's going to ruin the success of a movie. So it doesn't logistically make sense for him to smear someone in advance. It only makes sense for him to protect himself if necessary. I don't think it was a smear campaign. It was more like a shield for him. That's almost what it feels like.
No, I totally agree with you. So do you think that that Ryan Reynolds can come out of this like kind of unharmed? I mean, he's such a big star. I feel for her at this point, it's obvious that she's going to have some trouble in the future getting parts in Hollywood, being hired. I don't know if you agree with that, but Ryan Reynolds is such a, major powerhouse. So do you think that it will affect him negatively in the long run, or what is?
Well, my show today is titled, Is Ryan Reynolds the Real Villain?
Ooh.
That's literally the new path I'm going under. And I hate to promote this person because I really dislike a lot of her beliefs, very much so. But Candace Owens, who has a very, very big audience, and once again, do not like her beliefs.
Yeah, me too.
She has a big, not at all.
No.
But the reason why I'm saying that is because I know she has a huge, huge audience. Someone just sent me to go look at her stories, and she just did a series of stories where she said she spoke to someone who was on the set at It Ends With Us, And she goes story after story talking about how Ryan Reynolds was the person that literally came on set and lost his mind. And he's the person that's created all of this drama. So if she's going down this path now and she has such a big audience, yeah, I think there's going to be a huge trickle effect here. There's no way. I see. At first, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying this yesterday on my show. I said, look, most of the people that are watching this kind of content right now, I think, are women, like people watching you and I type of content about It Ends With Us. Feels like most of my audience is women, maybe some gay men, but like most of them are women. So maybe Blake Lively will be affected, but I don't think we're Ryan Reynolds like target audience, like for Deadpool type movies. But straight male audiences may be affected. And I asked a guy friend of mine who is a straight male the other day, and he goes, no, I don't really care about it. Like, it doesn't really affect me. But one of the guys in my YouTube comments yesterday said, I'm a straight male. And the truth is, like, after watching the show, I'm going to look twice before going to see a Ryan Reynolds movie. It's kind of gross. Like, you look at him differently. But if you listen to this Beyond the Blinds episode, and if you start putting the all the pieces together about who Ryan Reynolds is, and then you see the way that he supposedly treated Scarlett Johansson, his ex-wife, and you see the way he supposedly treated Alanis Morissette, who was his ex-fiance, and she wrote songs about him on an album. So I looked at all the lyrics.
Ooh.
My goodness, this man is a crazy controlling guy.
Wow.
Severely. So I had a whole theory today on my show that I was willing to go to Vegas and put money on.
Wow. Everyone needs to go to your channel now and watch that. I'm going to do that. I
Like,
didn't see that, but I saw you posted something on Instagram yesterday about someone saying, you know, that she might be in a controlling relationship. Blake, and Ryan is the one controlling her. I am so curious to see where this ends up.
like it ends with I don't even know. Like it ends
No.
with a telenovela.
Does it
I
ever
am
end? Yeah.
I don't know if it'll ever end. I mean, and some people are like, I'm so sick of it. And I'm like, I can't get enough. And okay, what do you think about the fact that she put out this gag order yesterday? Do you think
Yeah.
that's even like a thing?
Well, I think that they're definitely doing that to, you know, try and control the narrative a little bit more because everyone, I haven't seen any comments lately at all on any, you know, I look at different sites as well, everything from People and E! News, who's usually more like on the Blake and Ryan side, and everyone has turned against her now. So I think this is
Except,
like a desperate, you know, move. And I saw also that, what's her name? Jenny Slate, you know, the co-star. They're going after her on her social media because she had supported Blake, and
yep,
then Colleen Hoover deleted her
deleted.
Instagram. I mean, so everyone now who's coming out to support her are putting themselves in a very vulnerable spot. So, yeah,
And all the cast of Sisterhood of Traveling Pants like made that big statement. Do you
yeah,
remember that?
yes,
No, like everyone was like, free Blake, free
yeah,
Blake. And I have to be honest. Like, I'm going to say honestly, and I've said it on my show a million times because I think it's okay to change your mind and be honest about it. I fully 1000% believed her when she released her complaint. Like, I went from thinking she was annoying and obnoxious and like, by the way, I forgot about it like the rest of the world. We all moved on. I went from completely not even caring or not even thinking about it to actually feeling sick to my stomach after reading her complaint that weekend. And I came on my show and I was like, guys, I feel sick to my stomach because I feel so bad for her. After reading that complaint, I was like, he is disgusting. I can't believe he did this to her.
mm,
I fell right into the palm of her hands with that complaint. So people like to say, oh my gosh, how could people just never believe women or not believe Blake? No, 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 no. We believed her.
yeah.
But
Very good point.
I actually don't want to be lied to. That's the problem. We're finding that there's like, we're seeing the cracks in the lies.
Did you
Because,
honestly, yeah, honestly, I have to ask you, did you, I mean, we didn't know each other then. This is the
yeah,
first time we speak, but when you read in the New York Times, did you believe that I was a part of that alleged smear campaign, the way you read it in the New York Times?
I
You can say
honestly,
yes.
well,
I mean,
honestly,
because a lot of people thought so, the way that they portrayed that.
I thought there was like a little bit something where you want to know why? Because you also, the way that they said, oh, look, she also was Team Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
So you had nothing to do with it. Like you
No.
had never spoken to anyone on any side of the.
No. No.
Is that not the craziest thing to happen to your
I
career
know.
ever in your life?
Yes.
I
Totally.
mean, it's also amazing for your career. Like this is the way it works, right? You had footage and you had a moment.
Yeah.
This is how it works.
Yeah. No,
You
and
held
now
on to it until a moment.
yeah, I wasn't really thinking about it. I'm going to talk about this probably on your show now that we are
Yeah, I'm
shooting
curious.
after this. So everyone has to come and watch the second part of this on
Yes,
your
that should be on my
channel.
show. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's wrap it up here. And then
Okay.
we'll continue this interesting conversation on your channel. And
Daily Dose of Donna.
Daily Dose of Dana, and I'll put a link below so you guys can watch her. And then you are live every day at 11 a.m. PST. Are you in the
Yep.
weekends too? No, not in the weekends.
No, Monday
Yeah.
through Friday. And once in a while, I come on for an extra special, if I have 179 pages of a lawsuit to go through.
Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I learned so much from this. Wow, you got really the scoops and insights here. I really
I'm trying
appreciate
to
it.
get in with all my connections, and don't worry, I'll give it to you guys first.
Thank you so much to Donna who came on and shared all this stuff. Yeah, as I said before, there were so many things she told me that I had no idea about. And you will see the second half of this show at her channel. So you can go straight over there to see what we talked about on her channel. I will leave a link below in the description and as a pinned comment so you can go and check it out there. Again, thank you so much, you guys, for all your support and for sticking with me and for leaving all those amazing comments and sending me tips. I have so many guests coming on now in the near future that are super exciting. So stay tuned and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.